in the flesh every morning.
Auf Wiedersehen! Oh, no,
Waiting for your laughter.
Alright, I'm kind of recording this on a whim with not so great of a mic, but it seems like we have some interesting news coming out of the Verbolten Forbidden Turn project over at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Now, this refurbishment concept that Williamsburg has done with Loch Ness Monster, now Verbolten the Forbidden Turn, is interesting to me because I feel like these are them putting their foot in the water to see if refurbishing other attractions in the park or other attractions in the chain could work as, cost saving but effective additions to the park. And I think Verbolten might be the next step in this enhancing attractions fad they're in right now. And this one honestly seems to be more elaborate than the Loch Ness Monster one. I know a lot of the Loch Ness Monster budget went to the new track done by S&S, and that really improved the ride experience, as well as the small minor theming enhancements they made, except for the screens in the tunnel. That's one of my major grievances with that refurbishment, but I think Verbolten was a very deserving candidate for a refurbishment like this, especially if you didn't know, in recent years a lot of the theming had been stripped from the building, and it was mostly a pitch black dark, high-speed turns until the drop track, where I believe some effects still worked, but it seems like with this current refurbishment they've been planning, this will enhance the ride experience to almost something on the level of Curse of Dark Castle as far as theming goes and physical sets. This is not anything that I was expecting, so let's get right into the first chunk of these plans that were leaked by our friends over at Busch Gardens Williamsburg fans, who have, of course, helped on so many projects in the past. So, once again, just a huge thanks to them. As far as the queue and entrance theming goes, it seems like it is mostly staying the same, with one of the biggest changes happening within that office area, and including that front desk kind of setup. It looks like, at least according to the plans and Zachary's analysis, this queue will feature an audio animatronic of sorts, and this is apparently the first time Busch Gardens Williamsburg has done an animatronic in its queue, let alone within an attraction, since Questor, which is funny since that's one of the last things we talked about on this channel with that documentary covering the simulator attractions, which I was not aware of an animatronic being in that queue when I made that video. Now, obviously, the plans aren't specific to what this animatronic will be, what kind of character it will be, but if I had to guess, it's going to be some employee of this new tour company that has taken over the former tour company that was featured in the first rendition of Verbolten. But other than that, it seems like the station and queue are largely remaining the same, with the next large change happening in that first gravity run section before the first launch. Now, in the original plans leaked by BGWFans just a few weeks ago, this was a rotating billboard element, but it looks like those plans have changed and have been enhanced to now feature just a billboard with a large tree branch coming out of it, as well as a twisted section of track. Now, part of me thinks this is them being smart and planning for the future by removing something that is very commonly broken even along major roadways from advertising companies. And this also adds another physical element to a already pretty flat and one-dimensional experience. So this 3D element in addition to the billboard helps just enhance the immersion of the attraction. Now, the next change is literally right around the corner from the one we previously discussed, and is enhancing that floating tunnel element that is attached to the entryway into the show building. Now, if you don't know, Verbolten currently has just this floating facade attached to the tunnel into the ride's gravity building, and these plans call for them extending that all the way or mostly to the ground. Now, in addition to this, what I'm hoping they'll do is paint at least the front of the building with like a forest mural, similar to what Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure over at Islands of Adventure has on the building that encloses the two drop track elements. So if you're following along at least the ride layout, the train launches through this tunnel into the gravity building itself, which originally had this elaborate scrim wrapping around certain portions of the coaster track and a large curtain blocking off the drop track. Now this was removed, I believe, post-COVID and was never put back up, and since had been an empty building with flashing lights. Now, one of the things about Verbolten's gravity building and several other indoor roller coasters gravity buildings is that they are not buildings known for having available space. A lot of it is used to store lighting, store just various equipment for the ride itself, and of course, clearance and the coaster track itself. So I knew the park was going to have to get creative with what they had planned for this space, and this is a lot more elaborate than I was expecting it to be. Now, the main element of the actual, gravity run section after the launch is this giant tree that I assume is the one from the concept art, which I wasn't able to find for some reason, the AI generated one with the tree with the face on it. I assume that's what this is. It seems like the track is going to first wrap around it, and that track you see going through it is that drop right off the mid-course brake run. This is a very large physical piece, which is a great replacement to the scrim and just, flat elements that were originally present before. And this is not even the only physical element being added to this space. The Volkswagen Beetle that was originally present next to the exit of the station is now being transported from that spot into the building next to this giant tree. It is going to be placed on a metal support of sorts to make it look like maybe it is tangled within the tree itself. Now, moving on to the opposite side of the show building, it is a little noticeably barren than the large tree element on the opposite side, but it does not mean it's lacking theming. Here we can see more of these tree branches that are going to be reaching out towards the ride vehicle on both sides of the track, and you're going to be passing through these as you head into the mid-course brake run. And then you head down that small drop through the tree up into that brake run that feeds into the drop track itself, the main star of the show building. Now it seems like they want to add various tree branches to this section as well, but that's not the only major change happening to this drop track section. It appears that they want to install another audio animatronic right at the end of this drop track section. Now, we don't know what this animatronic is going to be, just like the other one, but Zachary theorizes it could be the old lady seen in the animated promo first released for the attraction. Now, this animatronic is going to be right on the wall where the face element used to be that would flash in certain show scenes programmed into the original attraction. And the last major change we come to for this attraction is in that last bit of launch tunnel for the second launch, where it looks like they're going to be adding decorative elements that will help block the light and just make it look less warehousey. It also looks like they're going to be adding some theming outside of the building in this portion as well, similar to the entrance into the gravity building that we discussed previously. And those are all the changes being made in its transition to Forbidden Turn. Again, this could change, elements could be added, elements could be removed. We've already seen a lot of theming added to this attraction between the plans that were first leaked and these current plans. I don't think anything's really going to change between now and the ride opening in the spring. Hopefully none of these elements get cut, because I think this could be a very strong contender to be better than the Loch Ness Monster refurbishment. And as I said in the opening of this video, I really hope this kickstarts a positive change for these parks to value theming again and value storytelling instead of just building, the new record-breaking launch coaster, the new record-breaking family coaster. SeaWorld San Antonio added some theming to Barracuda Strike. It is decently themed like this is. It doesn't have animatronics, but it does have theming. So maybe we're going to see a change throughout all the parks, because Penguin Trek has theming as well. Big Bad Wolf's Revenge, this, Loch Ness Monster, as I mentioned, Barracuda Strike, I almost called it Phoenix Rising. Phoenix Rising does have theming, but not as much as these string of attractions that we've gotten in the previous few years. I really hope this, as I said, is a positive trend we see, not just at Williamsburg, and maybe they'll fix Journey to Atlantis. That's all I care about.